I want to show some of the basic hand positions in our system. So, first of all, our punches are not vertical, they're diagonal. So the punch is like a forward and back slash on a keyboard. So we punch at an angle because it fits the side of the jaw and the rib cage. So we don't punch this way, we punch at an angle. This also puts your elbow a little bit more in the center by turning your fist that way, okay? It gives you a little bit more coverage. So one of the basic positions we have is called a Tan Sao. So the Tan starts out in the middle gate, it goes to your solar plexus and pushes up and out. Now you want the bend of your wrist parallel to the tip of your nose because you're not blocking with the back of your hand. It may look so, but you're not. You can't do that because your hand would collapse. So if you didn't have a hand, this would still work. So you're not using your hand at all. It's here. So you're only blocking from here down. And it's called tan because in Cantonese, tan means to spread or disperse. So when a punch comes at you, you don't want to stop it and take the brunt of the force. You want to disperse and spread the force along the person's limb. So say someone threw a round punch to my open side, I would spread along the limb so I don't hurt myself, right? And I want this up high. Remember, you're not blocking with your hand. You're blocking from the wrist down. That's why you want your wrist, the bend of your wrist, parallel to the center of your nose or the zygomatic bone on the side of your face. Wu Sao. Wu Sao is up here. So a punch comes, I want this here. So you want this part of your palm covering this part of your face. So the bend of your thumb should be parallel to the tip of your nose or the zygomatic bone for anything coming laterally. If you try to block with your fingers, it would collapse. So you want this here. And you're using this fleshy part of the palm. It's called the hyperthenar eminence. It's the strongest part of the human hand. This Wu Sao is practiced pulling back, but it's applied going forward. So when the punch comes, I'm actually causing trauma to their arm. So I'm actually hitting their arm, see? And this is really strong. So you can actually take the force of a blow. Another important hand position is a Fuk Sao. The Fuk Sao has your fingers pointing down, so there's a path going away from you. It mimics the paws of a canine, dog, wolf, fox, coyote. As a matter of fact, the character for Fuk is a combination of two characters, the character for man and the character for hound. It depicts a man standing over or controlling a hound. See? So this hand's on top, controlling. You don't want to do it flat like this because there's a straight line to your body. You turn the fingers down, just like a canine's paws would be, with their claws pointing down, not sideways, pointing down so the path goes away. This is how we open our first form. As a matter of fact, all the forms. You sit down, place all the weight on the right leg, circle to the left, step to the left, bring your feet together, circle to the right, step to the right, and adjust. Now, years ago, I used to do this. I don't do that way anymore. It's a different lineage of Wing Chun, and they're all good. So, this first part of the form defines what we call the border of your central line. So imagine a line here and a line here, and my fingers trace that line. So this shows you where you can strike without moving your shoulder to telegraph your intent. You don't want to do this. An experienced fighter can see that and react to it. So my fists are even here, so I can hit the same target without telegraphing my shoulder. My fists are even here, even here. Now, if I go too far, one of them is going to be longer, as you see here. That means I would have to use my shoulder to telegraph my intent to throw the punch. So this is what this is for. So I could hit a target out here, 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 without moving my body. This also does something else. My fingertips are even here. My fingertips are even here. So since we do not fight square on, giving all this target, we blade like a boxer. We fight in an angle. So my opponent's here, my guard's here, my center is facing off. So if I were in a room, it would be facing to the upper right hand corner of my room. So I'm in a left side neutral. I'm in the middle of a square. There's an upper right hand corner of my square, upper left hand corner of my square, lower left, lower right. While I'm in this stance, my center is facing offline. How far do I turn? Well, here's one way to gauge it. My fingertips are even here, my fingertips are even here, which means I can hit the same target while not facing it square, facing at an angle, blading like boxers do. I can hit, but if I turn too far to the right, one hand is shorter than the other, which means I can't hit the same target, which means I have to telegraph with my shoulder. So this is one of the purposes for doing this, for defining your central line and knowing how far you should turn. The same thing if I'm in a front stance. My center is facing there. My center is not facing my opponent, it's facing there. So how far do I turn? See, I can hit you without moving my shoulder. If I turn too far, one hand is longer than the other. This hand won't reach, see? So for me to hit you, I have to telegraph my intent. You don't want to do that. So that's what that's for. So then we start out with our punch. Our punch starts here. Don't start the punch from back here. Start it from where you're going to fight. If you're in a fighting stance, your guard would be here, about this distance from your body, and your punch would drive out from here. You're not going to start it from back there. So you place the punch in the center, drive it out. Stretch, circle around. Now when you first learn, you stay in a fixed point in space, and this is called a Hyun Sao. Later on, you learn to leave that line, to circle around. So I don't stay in that fixed point. That would be a Hyun Sao. This is a Lao Sao. I slip around. So if I punch and someone slaps my hand away, I slip around and then cover the line to strike. Okay? So one's a Hyun Sao, one's a Lao Sao. We do a Tan. So my center's here, so my hand comes alongside my body, pushes out about 135 degrees. And it's in front of my face because I want it in my center line. I wouldn't apply it this way. I would apply it this way. And I want the bend of my wrist parallel to the tip of my nose because I'm blocking from the wrist down. You're not using the hand to block, it would collapse. So if you didn't have a hand, if your hand was cut off, you could still do a Tan Sao. The Tan is out here. So it's in my center. So we practice it in the center, but we apply it here. Because a lot of people would think you can't see your opponent with your hand. This is not how I'm going to fight. I'm not going to fight square. I'm going to fight at an angle. So my Tan is here. It's in my center. See? It's in my center, except my center is facing there. Another important thing about the form is Wing Chun teaches you to use left and right brain independently. The left hemisphere of your brain controls the right side of your body. The right hemisphere controls the left side of your body. So it's like doing this. So when you're standing here in a neutral stance, or Kim Yong Ma, Yichi Kim Yong Ma, you don't want to have your fist resting on your body because your brain's not working on it. So for example, I want my left fist in this instance to be at least 2 fingers off my body while I'm using this hand. If I rest this hand here, I'm only using one side of my brain. This is lazily put there. I want this over here. So while I'm training my right hand, I'm also focusing on the left hand, and vice versa. See? This hand should be off the body, not resting on your body. The next one would be the Fuk Sao. Fuk Sao is controlling or subduing hand in Cantonese. So your finger should be pointing toward the opposite toe, so you create a path that goes away from you. You don't want to do it flat like this because the path comes towards you. Also, fingers should point down because they represent the paws of a canine. Dog, wolf, fox, coyote, whatever. Okay? The character for Fuk is composite of 2 characters, a man and a hound. So it depicts a man controlling a hound. If you have a dog, their paws point down, their claws point down. So this is how you want to do that. Okay? Another important position in Wing Chun is a Bong Sao. So Bong Sao starts from here and it lifts and rolls up. So it's done from underneath your opponent's arm. You don't want to go on top because you miss those incremental points. If I do a bong like I'm swimming on top and the person changes the punch, they're going to hit me here. So the Bong Sao starts from here. So I cover this line, this line, this line. It's from underneath the arm. It's not on top. Remember that. Also, we don't do our Bong Sao with the finger pointing forward, because if a punch or a kick comes this way, I can have my fingers damaged. So other Wing Chun lineages do it this way. I used to do it this way and teach it this way back in the 70s. It can work. You can pull it off, but I'd rather be safe and keep my fingers away. So just like our tan is flat, the Bong Sao is flat too. So my fingers are away from anything coming towards the side. Also, the gum saws in our Silam Tao are not straight down. They're out here in front of you. Because a kick comes, I block, get offline. So see where I block here? And I'm blocking with this fleshy part of my palm. It's called the hyperthenar eminence. That's the strongest part of your palm. Not the whole hand, because you'd break your wrist.